Steve Wright's big guests.
Helen Skelton is a top TV presenter and sports fan who's back on the BBC tomorrow night, BBC One in fact, alongside Angela Rippon and Joe Crowley with a brand new series of Holiday Hit Squad. So we're going to find out about that and also what she's doing for Sport Relief. And all right.
Oh, thanks.
And of course, Helen, hi, didn't you do a thing for Sport Relief before where you, as I recall, because you came in and spoke to us about it, you cycled to the South Pole?
I did. That was Sport Relief 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I went out and went to Antarctica, and obviously because at the time I was working on Blue Peter, and so I knew that we needed to try and make it interesting because for kids, 12 half hours of me with fur around my face just plodding on, not interesting. So I took a bike and a kite, and we kite skied and cycled to the South Pole.
Skied.
You need to know what you're doing with that, don't you? Otherwise you get pulled off to the North Pole.
Well, it was pretty hardcore. I wasn't very good at it, if I'm honest. I learnt to kite surf first.
Right.
And I kept getting dragged out of the water. And this one particular occasion, I crashed down, had a bit of mild concussion, came back into the shore, and this old lady who'd been watching said, "Oh dear, it is marvellous when you fly through the air." I said, "You're not actually meant to fly, but thanks." I could only ever go left. I couldn't tack back. They had to send a boat to get me.
And what about the bike on the ice? It'd be like skating, wouldn't it?
Well, I wish. The sand out there is so loose that, well, I say sand, it felt like sand because there's no moisture, so it just sort of slips away under the wheels, so it was pretty tough going.
Wow.
It was quicker to walk, but I was determined to use that bike.
Here's what Helen's doing this time. Next Monday, Helen will abseil down the BT Tower in London, which we can see from this window behind you, in London for Sport Relief. It won't just be Helen. There's a host of celebs doing it, as you probably know, including Bear Grylls. So are you worried about that?
If it's windy, it's going to be a bit extreme.
Yeah.
There aren't really any of the girls doing it. There's a marine girl doing it. I've got to hold my nerve. I don't want to look girly in front of them. But walking backwards off a BT Tower, I think it's probably going to be a bit more difficult than I think.
How are you with heights?
I'm all right, I think. I didn't know what I was like with heights until I did that high wire at Battersea.
Yeah.
And then obviously I was okay with that, but I just had to go 3 steps at a time. So they should be okay, hopefully.
Yeah, it should be good. Should be brilliant. But
You don't sound convinced. You sound nervous for me.
I am slightly nervous for you, but you seem so confident. I'm thinking, she'll be fine.
Ignorance is bliss in my book.
You'll be fine. You'll be good.
Yeah. Now, let's look at Holiday Hit Squad. Explores how to make sure holidays across the globe live up to their promise. And in this brand new series that Helen is presenting, along with others, Helen goes thrill-seeking in Iceland and goes in search of free entertainment in New York. Back in the UK, Helen has the perfect family beach holiday in Suffolk and finds foodie treats in Cornwall. The crux of the show is upbeat and positive, or are you occasionally finding what's wrong?
I find the upbeat and positive. Joe finds cockroaches under beds and rats in restaurants, and Angela finds people who've broken their legs and fallen off water slides.
Okay. So now tell us a little bit about Iceland then, because I understand it's very expensive there, am I right?
Everybody says that about Iceland, and yes, it is expensive if you want to go fine dining and drinking and things like that. But like anywhere, there are budget options. When I went to Reykjavik for this trip, I stayed in a youth hostel. Now, I swore off youth hostels years ago because I had terrible experiences. But actually, this one I stayed in Reykjavik was better than most of the hotels I stayed in this country. It was great, and that's hand on heart. And it was cheap. I think it was £40 a night.
Okay, now, this is a show that obviously goes out on BBC One, and the audience are fairly mixed. Using that trip to Iceland, is that for young people? Is that for old people alike?
It's interesting you say that, because Iceland was the one that I argued with the producers about, because they said, "Helen, you this week have got to do a thrill-seeking one. We're thinking about Iceland." And I was like, brilliant. I've been there, I've ice climbed, I've camped on a glacier. This will be great. I'll go into a moulin, we'll do all this stuff. And they went, no. This isn't a holiday for you. This is a holiday for everybody else. So you're going to do a bit of 4x4 and you're going to go dog sledding. I was like,
great.
Come on, we've got to be a bit more gnarly than that. And they said, no. This is for the wider public, Helen.
Back in the UK, as I mentioned, Helen has the perfect family beach holiday in Suffolk. What beach did you go to?
We went to South Wold in Suffolk. We
Right.
went to the pier. It was absolutely great, because I think it's really easy to forget what you have in this country, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we went down to South Wold and I saw family after family, and I got chatting to people as you do. And what was really nice was they were all saying, "Oh yeah, Gran came down for a couple of days, and then my brother's coming for a couple of days with his kids." And I thought, that's the thing that you get if you have your holidays in this country. You can go for longer. And people can dip in and out and come for a few days extra here and there. And yeah, I felt like I was gatecracked. I kept joining families.
we're very proud of you since leaving Blue Peter. I mean, look, you've done Wimbledon and, and Country File and all that stuff. Did you think it would be like this? Because once you leave Blue Peter, it's difficult to reinvent yourself, isn't it? But you've done it.
That's kind of you to say. Blue Peter is the best show ever for a presenter because you do once-in-a-lifetime opportunities every week. And because of the brand, people open their doors to you. I've had tea with the Queen.
Yeah.
And you get that because of Blue Peter. So leaving is really difficult and it was a massive gamble. But I've been lucky that, I've done lots of Country Fowl, which my dad loves because he's an ex-dairy farmer. So he's forever phoning me up going, actually, you said this and I think you should have said that. All right, thanks, Dad.
Great.
Yeah, and I'm doing lots of football at BT. So, touch wood, it's early days, but I'm enjoying it so far.
Well, that's all good. And good luck with the abseil down the BT Tower. That's next Monday. And you can see Helen presenting the new series of Holiday Hit Squad. It's on BBC One and it starts tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And yes, you heard Helen Skelton, everybody. Thank you, Helen. See you next time. Good luck. Now, going forward, I love that expression, don't you? Here's Tim Smith.
The Great Pyramid of Cheops in Egypt was built around 2600 BC. That is a long time ago. It was built using enough stone to make a brick wall that could go around the world 20 inches high.
The largest crater on the moon measures 183 miles across, Tim. Now you.
Listen to this, you'll like this. In transistors, electrons perform an amazing magic act called quantum tunnelling. It means they can move from one side of a thin metal plate to the other without actually going through the plate. That, sir, is your quantum physics.
Wow, that's a factoid. The electrons, weren't they in the second series of Doctor Who? Didn't they have a flat face?
No, they were a band. They had 3 hits in 1986.
I knew you'd know that, being a DJ.
The ice cream cone, none taken, was originally invented to hold flowers, not ice cream.
The Earth is how old, do you think?
4.8 billion years.
How'd you know that?
Wild guess.
4.5.
Factoids.
Now, Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen is an interior designer, is he? And TV presenter.
Don't you mean the interior designer? I think it's an interior designer.
That's what I meant to say, Lawrence. You know that.
Absolutely.
Shot to fame on Changing Rooms, Homefront, and all those other shows. Lawrence is once again the Ideal Interiors ambassador at this year's Ideal Home Show exhibition, which runs from the 14th until the 30th of March at Earl's Court in London. It's the show's 106th year. And Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen is here, of course. Hey, good afternoon, Lawrence. How are you?
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. 106 seems somehow not old enough. I don't know. I thought it was older than that.
I only remember it from when I was a kid.
106 years ago.
Yes, it was, we're 107 now. But it's always been there. And I must confess to you that I love it.
Yeah.
When I go, I like to see you. I like to see the gardening stuff there. I like to buy a little bit of carpet. I like to buy a clock. I like to watch some of the lectures and stuff.
Yeah.
And what are you doing there this year?
I'm attempting something which has never before been attempted, and there might have been a reason why, which is I've got Lawrence's Lab of Lovely, and I'm going to be conducting a series of experiments on live human beings to ascertain where their taste comes.
I'm going to need more
from
detail.
And where it's going to.
More detail needed, Lawrence.
Now, one of the things I think is very, very interesting is how taste happens in couples, in relationships. Oh. And in fact, you get this an enormous amount with the Ideal Home Show. You get couples turning up, and you can see there's an element of tension even before they start. And there's that moment where the gentleman is starting to get a little bit itchy in the palms of his hands when anybody mentions cushions or curtains.
Yes, you're right.
Because he wants to go off and have a look at some tools or something, or a loft
right.
extension. And then the lady is getting very, very impatient because she wants things to be very her style, very home style. So I'm going to be working with people to try and unite the sexes under one banner of loveliness.
Crikey, good luck on that one. As a bloke quite recently married and quite recently moved into a new home, can you explain the cushions thing? Because we've got a lovely sofa, but nobody can get near it because of the cushions.
It is probably the biggest source of friction. And what you need to understand is that actually cushions are like little offerings to the household gods, OK? We have a series of shrines in our homes. One is the sofa in the living room. One is the bed in the bedroom. And when you come home and you suddenly realise that there are an enormous amount of cushions on either, that's a very good sign.
Yeah.
Really?
That's a really good sign. That denotes a sense of peace, serenity, concord within the home environment that is then all about embellishing it, making it, I'm going to treat it to something nice. So
You're good.
If a gentleman overreacts to cushions, they may well find that they are losing brownie points at a very, very rapid rate.
You're very good, Lawrence. I've taken extensive notes on that. Thank you.
Write that
thank
down.
you. I mean that. Thank you so much.
And in fact, can I just say that if you really want to go on one more level, compliment the cushions. Really? Notice when there's a new cushion there, but don't touch them.
Some of the highlights at this year's show include the downsizing house. It's a 3-bedroom bungalow which shows solutions for the needs of our elderly population. The starter home, an efficient 3-bedroom vernacular home aimed at the first-time buyer. The urban castle, 4-bedroom arts and crafts inspired home. The generation home, which can be erected within 24 hours. Oh, that's good. Oh, that might go for that. Well, that'd be like prefab.
Inflatable.
Be a Lego house, won't it?
yeah.
Lego take far longer than that.
That's true. Yeah,
I reckon I could do it in 12.
Exactly. Depends whether the instructions are in Swedish or not.
yeah, absolutely. It's funny you should mention Swedish because I was at that place the other day looking around. Where are we at with interior design? Are we ever at a definite place or is it anything goes?
These days, it is more or less anything goes. Absolutely. We are in a very different place at the moment because actually our interiors do a very good job of reflecting how we feel about the economy.
Okay.
And so you can imagine at the moment that interior design is feeling very, very transitional. It's not sure which way to go. We've come out of an extended period of burrowing where people wanted to create very, very rich interiors that were quite distracting. They were opulent. They were to sort of right the wrongs that were happening.
Comfort zones, in a sense,
comfort zones is an incredibly good way of putting it. Cocoons is the technical term, which I don't really like. So theoretically, we should be moving into interiors that are brighter and lighter and more confident.
Are we spacious? Are we cluttered?
The very, very overconfident, bombastic decorating pre the recession is something I think people will still struggle with. We still want things to be wholesome and we still want things to be nurturing. And I think it is going to be very interesting to see what happens to us all over the next 5 years as we possibly get a bit more money, we feel a bit more relaxed financially. And the danger, of course, is that suddenly the whole thing gets overheated, overcooked again, and we forget all of those lessons and we start... exactly, we go back to that kind of 80s yuppie that we were.
And it's a very important question, Tim, I wanted to ask you, but I'll ask it for him. He wants to know if him and his new wife should buy a waterbed or will they drift apart?
Do you know, I'm not entirely sure. You can still buy waterbeds.
I don't think I've ever sat on a waterbed.
No, I think they were. I think they were a bit of a
one.
feature of the 70s.
It's just an excuse to get that joke in, really.
No.
So, you're looking forward to it?
It's the closest thing to get that I get to rock and roll, parading my funky stuff.
If you're there for a few days, will you be wearing something different every day?
Of course.
I know that you've always taken my advice and not worn that gear on the night bus.
Since I last saw you, things have moved on. I've got my own night bus now, so I can wear whatever I want to wear.
You can see Lawrence at the Ideal Home Show at Earls Court in London, which runs from the 14th until the 30th of March. And yes, you heard Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen on Steve Wright in the afternoon. Thank you very much, Lawrence. Good to see you.
Thanks for downloading Steve Wright's Big Guests. Join Steve and the team weekdays from 2 on 88 to 91 FM, BBC Radio 2.